Hey everybody, good morning. Listen, I'm going to pick up really kind of on what we talked about yesterday. Found a little passage. There's a passage in Philippians chapter 2, first 4 verses, and they say this. Paul writes, "Therefore, if there is any consolation in Christ, if there is any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and mercy, then fulfill my joy by being like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord and of one mind. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself. Let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others." Now, this passage is about unity. It's about being able to come together and to work together and to have a spirit of unity in spite of our differences of opinion and our differences of ideas and our differences of backgrounds and all these differences that we still have a spirit of unity. Now, Paul wrote this to a group of Christians, so he's obviously talking about it within the church. But I want you to see if you can't maybe also apply these principles or this principle of unity at school or at your workplace, on your job site, in your office, wherever you are, because we Christians, we should have a spirit of unity. Now, we're going to be different. We're different from the world. We're different from even other people who are Christians. We have different ideas. We have different opinions. We have different values. We see things differently. We approach problems differently. We're different, but in our differences as Christians, we should be people who are striving for Paul calls it being like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, being of one mind. It doesn't mean that we have to think and act and decide and have the exact same. It doesn't mean we have to be uniform, but it does mean that we have something that binds us together. We have something that we rally around. We have something that we have a spirit that wants to work together. We have a spirit that wants to get along together. We have a spirit that wants to approach problems together and solve them together. That is this spirit. So that's what he's saying about being like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord. It's being of one accord, not being contentious and not being combative. And actually he goes on, he says, so this is how you're going to have to do that. He says, let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit. He says you can't do things selfishly. I'll go ahead and read verse 4 because it kind of ties together. Let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. He says, I can't make the decisions that I make. I can't work with people and be selfish. I can't have to have my way all the time. It can't be my way or the highway, and I can't be combative and mean and ugly if I don't get my way. We have to have a spirit that works together, that goes through things together, that solves problems together, and that accomplishes whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish together. We have to be able to not do anything from selfishness, but we have to consider others and think about how they may be affected and how they may be viewing this. We have to look out not only for our own interests, but we have to want the well-being of others too. How can that even possibly be? Paul just says plain and simply in verse 1, he says, if there's any consolation in Christ, if there's any comfort of love, if there's any fellowship of the Spirit, if there any affection and mercy, then do these things. And what he's saying is, if you have experienced God, if you have experienced Christ, if you have the Spirit of Christ within you and you have fellowshiped with him and you have lived in his love and you have been comforted and you have been encouraged by Christ in your own life, then that needs to carry over in you being of one accord and one spirit and having a spirit of unity in your life, in church, at school, at your workplace, or wherever you may be. Philippians chapter 2, 1 through 4, something you can actually do today and not have to wait and think and contemplate about. Get out there and faith today. Love you guys. Bye.